Welcome to the Lucha Lounge. I'm your host, Steve DeMarco. First things first, let me wish all fathers out there a very happy Father's Day. And for the rest of you, hope you're enjoying your Sunday fun day, or you don't have a case of the Mondays, or maybe your Monday is your fun day. Now, for me, I'm recording this on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to Game 7 of the NBA Finals and Money in the Bank. Luckily, it's on the WWE Network, so I could probably watch it on a little bit of a delay, depending on the game. I don't know, maybe I'll put it on Bleacher Report. I don't know, it's a pretty historic game. I don't know, I've enjoyed it. I'm a fan of LeBron's. I mean, I think he's one of the best players ever, and I really like Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, defending champions, and you hate to see any team get a loss in the finals, but they're the second best team in the league, however it shakes out. So, yeah, I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed the historic comeback and whatnot. So yeah, and again, Money in the Bank shaping up to be one of the most historic cards. I mean, you got a dream match in John Cena versus AJ Styles. Thought I'd never see that one, and we're getting to see it. You're also getting to see Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns finally taking on each other for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, as well as the Money in the Bank match itself. It's a loaded field, and just all around, I'm really looking forward to the card. Yeah. What more can be said? Now, I had posted a question on Facebook and shared it out to various groups and whatnot, and posted it on my page and whatnot about the length of my episodes. Just to kind of get an idea, I've always kind of struggled with the idea of putting out the entire conversation versus putting it out in parts. While I understand everybody's busy, I've been doing YouTube for a number of years, and I understand that used to be a complaint about the length of some of my videos, because again, if you're watching it on YouTube, unless you have YouTube Red, sometimes if you put it, watching it on your phone or your device, and you close out of it, you can't continue to see it or hear it or anything like that. That's kind of what prompted me getting into podcasting. I mean, that was one of the factors. Again, I appreciate the Offshoots Network for giving me the platform to put out these episodes in podcast form. And I thought, okay, well, I listen to a variety of podcasts, and they differ in length of time and whatnot. But I don't know. I've always struggled with it. My last conversation that I released in two parts. I mean, one was introducing Brianna Ray, and her childhood and kind of her life prior to wrestling, getting into wrestling, and then coming to reality wrestling. And then the second portion was introducing Kylie Ray, because it seemingly had a good ending. Once we got into the introduction of Kylie Ray, that was a whole nother topic. So if you haven't seen that or heard that, I mean, that episode's out there. I think it's episode 23, for the Lucha Lounge, as far as in podcast form on the Offshoots Network, whether you go to iTunes or Google Play or wherever you get it. Again, I have Beyond Pod. That's where I listen to all my podcasts or subscribe or get them. So yeah, and then, I think it's episode, it's video 266 on YouTube, I believe. Although those aren't numbered, it's just, the next video. So again, go back to my channel or go to the Offshoots Network and be sure to check it out, or, go to my Facebook page. I usually share them either, usually Mondays or Sundays for the video portion, and then Mondays for the audio portion. So with that said, I thought, okay, I reached out to some people, and a lot of people had mentioned getting the videos to be shorter, or the episodes to be shorter. So again, it's coming up with kind of, in essence, not necessarily a cliffhanger, but a good stopping point before we get into the next portion. So that brings me to this episode. Now, I've been wanting to sit down with Ivory Robyn, the former Diamonds Division champion, for quite a while. We just hadn't really had an opportunity, scheduling, my schedule, her schedule. And then you never know what to expect when you get someone on the show. I don't really prepare a lot of questions. It's just kind of how the conversation goes. It's always going to start with how'd you get your starter, so on and so forth, with the exception of this one. I really wanted to talk to her about the status of her. She had actually, in her last title defense, where she lost the title to Kylie Rae, in Kylie Rae's debut, she had actually injured her left arm. She had broken it, which you will find out immediately once the conversation starts. You'll find out. So we really get into that, and then we get into kind of her backstory, her life, training initially, getting into the business, what prompted her to get into the business, those early days intergender matches, and then finally making her way to reality wrestling, debuting at Summer of Champions 1 as part of this 10-woman Diamonds Battle Royal, so to speak, which was really well done. If you haven't checked it out, go. I believe it's on YouTube. Feel free to go check it out. Really awesome match. But not everything's all rainbows and smiles and whatnot and roses and all that. The division actually hits kind of a dark period, and Ivory's part of all of that. And I thought that was a great way to kind of end the conversation, kind of put her in limbo, so to speak. So that's kind of where the conversation, at least this portion, I cut it about halfway in, because the next part 2 of the conversation is really, we delve into who is the Black Diamond and her kind of becoming this, kind of getting the shine put on her and whatnot. But, every story's got a beginning, every person's got their origin, and really this part 1 is Ivory's origin into the business, and those early days, and being part of the Diamonds division when at its subsequent peak, and then we really discussed the dark times and what led to it, and what led to the division taking a hiatus for a moment. I think it's a really intriguing listen. Again, I've wanted to have Ivory on the show for quite a while, and I was just happy to have her on the show. So, without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy my sit-down conversation with the one and only Ivory Robyn. Ivory Robyn! The Black Diamond? She breaks other diamonds? We're going to get into the Black Diamond stuff. I gotta ask first and foremost. Not a lot of people know, but if they follow you on social media, they do know. Your last match, in the midst of it, like in the middle of it, you break your wrist, right?
Broke my wrist. Two places.
Like both bones, or where was the break?
Right on this side. I clearly don't remember
it's fine. Yeah, you just can point. Yeah.
On this side and on this side.
Oh, so just...
Yeah, this one was hidden until right before they went in for surgery. They were like, yeah, we see another crack. So instead of 30 minutes, the surgery is going to take an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I was already freaking out. So
yeah,
in the back, they're like, oh, you're going to be under for an hour.
So, we did have a little conversation, potentially June, maybe you make your in-ring return, but I'm like... Just hold off till July, till you're feeling like 100%.
Yeah.
I know no wrestler wants to hear that, and if a doctor told you to be like, just sign the paper, yeah. I'm going. But how are you? You've been in the ring a little bit. How is it up to? Are you on schedule, to make a full recovery?
Yes, I will be making a full recovery.
Mm-hmm.
July is when the doctor told me I could start lifting. Don't go in and lift like how I normally lift, like a ton, but he was like, you should be able to start lifting weights and do things like that. He was like, but yeah, you will make a full recovery. Cool. He doesn't even know that I still go to training and roll around, because it's like when
So I'm going to send this to your doctor.
Please don't, because I know I'm going to get it the next time I see him. No, it's just like when he was sitting down telling me, he was like, he was like, you're going to be out, blah, blah. And literally in my head, this is so messed up. In my head, I was like, all right, so what spots can I do? Or what can I do that's not going to really involve this? I'm literally the
left hand, which for our novice probably listeners, the left hand's the the primary hand we use.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can still throw with your right. Most people are right-handed,
Yeah.
so we always use the left. So yeah, it is an important part. Like if you don't, you can not have a right hand, but not having a left.
Yeah.
That's,
it sucks.
yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that stuff because I mean, again, it was in the midst of your title defense. Not that I don't think people could tell readily when it happened. It's not like something.
I just knew I had to keep my adrenaline. Honestly, that's what kept me going. My adrenaline. I was like, when it happened, I was like, oh crap! I knew something wasn't right because as soon as it happened, my hand just went numb.
Okay.
And if you watch the video, like you'll see me kind of grab my wrist afterwards, but I had to muster up the last little bit of energy I had and freaking just keep going. And so it's like I held it off even after the bell rung. Kylie was standing there with the strap, and I got to the back, was walking up the ramp. I held it together, got to the back, and just screamed like bloody murder.
Yeah, I do remember, and I remember, like, I've watched it since, and no, you couldn't tell from the cross body, because that's when it happened, and it was such just a freakish thing, like, there wasn't really any, wasn't like you took a move, it wasn't like you landed wrong, or you took a funny bump, I mean, it looked all kind of textbook, and
this hand just got stuck under her, and it's crazy because it's a move that I've taken multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, you've worked with Athena pretty recently. I know she does a lot of, like, even more, like, crazier, dives and such. So.
And even girls after her, like, I don't know what, it was a freak accident.
Yeah. Kind of like the Seth Rollins thing. He's like, I did that move a million times, and then my leg just buckled.
Exactly.
And yeah, to get the break in such a, I mean, that's a tough thing. So you've been out how long? Because what was it, like,
March 19th.
March 19th. Yeah, you know better.
Yeah, I know the exact, almost the time that happened. But I've been out for about 3 months.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, and I know you're just itching. I mean, especially because it's not like a broken neck where they're going, well, you're gonna be out for 9 months or something like that. It's like, you'll be out for a month to 6 weeks. Yeah. But we all itch for it, and plus you're always there. Like I'm not there very often, but you are. I hear you are always.
I am.
Always there.
I'm always there because I feel like I'm scared to miss because I feel like there's something new being taught all the time, or things that I could brush up on, and like say if I wasn't doing a move right and they're going over that move, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because I still feel like I can learn. Yeah. So I sit there with my phone and I'm taking notes in my phone, like, okay, so this is how you do it. I just don't want to miss anything. Yeah. So.
Just gotta watch out about getting in the ring.
Or
going, I gotta lift those weights.
I'm like hard-headed sometimes.
Well, you're in a world full of like bravado and ego, and everyone just going like dust it off, and we're all like, oh man.
My thing is, as a wrestler, you have to be a little bit crazy to get in this business. Yeah. To just sit there and willingly take bumps and land on your face and just do all kinds of crazy stuff. You gotta be a little bit crazy. So it shouldn't even surprise some people that if a wrestler deals with something like, honestly, this is small compared to what people have experienced before. Yeah. They shouldn't really expect anything for a die-hard like wrestler or worker to want to get back in there and try to kind of maneuver their way. Okay, what can I do to, Yeah. So.
Well, so let's go back before the Black Diamond. Let's go back before, I mean, the title win, which another career highlight for you, I'm sure, for so many obvious reasons, which I want to get into. How long, like, when did you know that wrestling was something you want to do? Because, I mean, we're all fans. We all, like, watch it. We admire it for whatever reason. I know that's one of my big questions with everyone, like, promo day. It's like, if you've never been to a promo class, this is the first topic you're going to. And I used to want to give time limits, but I just I want to see how long people will legitimately talk about a topic if I don't give them any kind of, here's free reign. And then secondly, it proves that whenever I go back to them and go, give me a 30-second promo, and they go, I have nothing to say, I'm like, you just spoke for 25 minutes about
Yeah,
why you
yeah.
love wrestling. Plus, I think I think Eric kind of said it best. One of the more recent classes when he's like, it makes me want to train you guys better because now I kind of see where everyone's coming from.
Yeah.
Not all of us should realize we all love what we do. Otherwise, why would we do it, especially at this level? But I think it sometimes people need to be reminded of that because we all through our daily lives and whatnot, and we just all kind of go, oh, well, we're all part of the same club, and we don't realize like, well, everyone loves it. That's why they're here. But when did you know you wanted to wrestle, and what was it about it that made you want to do it?
I knew I wanted to wrestle 2012, about 4 years ago. Whenever I had moved back from Atlanta, Georgia, because I was actually going to go out there to Georgia State and get my master's.
Okay.
And I came home, and I grew up watching it as a kid. But then when I was in college, I was doing like college thing and just hanging out with friends and not really watching wrestling, but I knew who a good chunk of the people were. Okay. And so whenever I got back, my nephew, who has like a mild case of cerebral palsy, he was watching it one day, and at this time, I honestly wasn't too familiar with like John Cena, but I knew, of course, about like The Rock and stuff like that while I was in college. And
so you missed that whole John Cena phenomenon. Like,
yeah.
No, okay. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, you didn't see ruthless aggression, like you didn't see like.
But it's crazy though, because I was still watching at that time, but John Cena didn't really stick out.
Yeah, it might could have been like
because he was new. He
was probably wearing like the matching gear. Yeah,
which he said like every city he went to, he'd try to wear the team's colors.
Yes, and he had so much gear that it made Rey Mysterio go, "Come on, man." Seriously, like a different outfit every show. Yeah. So your nephew is into it, and that's kind of what gets you.
Yeah,
back.
he was sitting down watching it, and I was like, "Oh, what are you watching?" And he was like, "Oh, WWE. I'm watching John Cena." And in my head, I'm like, "Who is John Cena? Who is Sheamus? You know, those guys." And whenever he went home, like the next week or a couple weeks later, I was flicking through the TV and I saw Raw on. And I literally sat down, watched it. I swear to you, I kid you not, the thought in my head was, I bet I can do that. Okay. Like, so I was like, huh. So literally within that week, I was on the internet trying to find like wrestling schools, see if one was around. And I got lucky because there happened to be one like 35 minutes away from me, so I would go there on the weekends and train for pretty much nothing. The guy was like, "Hey, yeah, you can come train here." I officially started my training in 2013 because my mom was leery about it at first. She didn't accept it, but 30 minutes later, thankfully it wasn't like weeks or months later, 30 minutes later, after she talked to my sister, my sister was like, "No, you know, that's something she really wants to do." And she was like, "Fine, I'll support you, but you gotta have insurance." She was like, "Because if you get hurt, I'm not paying for it." So
yeah, which you know what, really brilliant advice if you think about it. I don't think anyone really thinks about it. I know there was probably a point in my career where I didn't have insurance, and I thank my lucky stars that I worked for a company at the time that allowed. Like, we had access to a chiropractor, we had access to like a masseuse, we had access to like a rehab facility, which really helped me when I was going. I can only imagine how much money I saved because I didn't have to go to a doctor, like the thought of getting an MRI, or like certain things like insurance, man.
So I stayed insured after that. I was like, nope, I gotta stay insured. So yeah, about. Let me see. So I had my first match December 2013. Okay. It was. So
how long had you been
training?
Training, and how was it like your first bump? How was that for you?
I was scared out of my mind. Okay, I'm one of those people. I don't like to be off my feet. Okay. Like, period. Yeah. And so I started training August 2013. I was the only girl there at the school because the other girl before, which was the owner's wife, she tore her ACL taking a dragon corkscrew. and so I was the only girl there, and it was cool. It was very cool. Those guys were cool. They were very warming towards me. Very goofy. Had my first match, was it 4 months later?
Okay.
And that was, woo! That was, my nerves were just shot. Like, they were all over the place. But when I went out, it was like out of body experience. I had the guys, it was a tag match. It was me and my trainer versus 2 other guys. At the end of the match, and from time to time, I'll go on YouTube and I'll look like, what the fuck was I thinking? Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Everyone does it. Everyone does it. I wait for them to do it, and then it becomes like this profanity lace. We're not family, Fortunately, it's. I don't ever even put a disclaimer. I'm just like, it's 2 adults talking. So
Gotcha.
So don't worry. It won't. It's like diamond. It don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter.
No, but at the very end of the match, this wasn't. The guy didn't think to. He didn't want to do it until like literally probably 30 minutes before we went out. He was like, "Okay, I'm gonna powerbomb you," and I'm just like, me being new, didn't want to piss off anybody.
You didn't want to say no.
Yeah, I was like,
probably
okay.
There's a voice going.
I knew
what?
I knew the guy because he played for my dad's football team.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, cool. Get out there. He kicks me in my stomach. I sell it. Freaking lifts me up for a power bomb. I'm thinking he's gonna hold me up at least for a second. He literally flips me up, slams me. He slams me so hard I saw, for some odd reason, purple and blue. It's like everything was shaking.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, I'm gonna kill this dude.
Yeah.
And my family was there. It was a lot of people there that night because they wanted to see me debut. My coworkers and stuff. They were threatening him. They were like, we're gonna kick your ass in the parking lot and blah blah blah. My mom was like they were recording it, and you can hear my sister go, My mom was like, oh, hell no. And so, I went to the back.
He got so much heat.
Yeah, they were, that was legit heat that he got. and so we got to the back, and I literally, I'm not gonna lie, I was ticked. Because I'm just like, you did not have to slam me that hard. Really, is this, initiation?
Yeah.
And so I, went, I, smacked him across the head, Cause like I said, I knew the guy. He wasn't brand.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So okay, so you're in Atlanta, right? At this point, or where?
No, I was in Wichita Falls.
Wichita Falls. Okay, so what? Any other highlights of that time? Like you're doing intergender matches at that point?
Yeah, intergender.
Like there are no other girls? Is it kind of a?
I didn't work my first girl until 4 or 5 months later.
Okay.
Yeah. Her name is Yummy Gummy.
Okay.
Because I thought it was Yumi Gumi or something, but it's Yummy Gummy. I guess after that crappy song, I'm a gummy bear. BS. And that was her.
How they, inspiration for characters.
I was like, all right. So that was the first time I worked a girl. And
what was that? How was it? Because you'd worked predominantly guys. How was
guys.
What was was there a noticeable difference working with?
Very much so. The guys, I idolize Lita. So I'm just at that point I'm just okay, what do I want to do? And I'm looking, and I look at Lita. I'm like, I want to do that stuff. So I was able to do the top rope ranas and the wheelbarrow moves and the head scissors and the cross bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to do all that, but I can't really do that now because I'm bigger than a lot of
Yeah,
guys.
because when you're working guys, a lot of time. You've got that base.
Yes.
Even if they're close to your size, it's just from a physical standpoint.
Yeah, they naturally have that. I feel like they naturally have that strength, even though there was a guy that was about my size, but he still caught me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I don't know, you're a guy. So is it a testosterone thing? Or?
It's, I think at the end of the day, it's, you want to protect your opponent. If it's in a wrestling situation, I never want to be that guy. At the same time, I will tell guys, I'm notorious, do not expect me to catch you. I learned from when I worked Sabu, just be the body that I just bounce off of. Just be something to break my fall. I'll catch my feet, especially if he's coming off the top.
Mm-hmm.
He's because so much can go wrong if you're trying to catch me, especially if we're on the outside. He's plus some guys don't. They may catch me, but they will chunk me. It's like this way. If I just bounce off you, then. And when I'm going at guys, I'm like, I'm throwing myself at you, so don't try to, don't try to catch me. Just let me hit you, and I'll do the rest. Unless they're smaller guys, then it's like, oh, well, it's just fun, because the idea of being able to work together to get that momentum to do whatever. But yeah, I would figure working women would be different, because center of gravity or whatever. I mean, I don't know about all the sides. I just would think it would be, especially if you work guys. It's probably even back then. It's just different. I mean, just especially if you're working like yummy gummy or gummy yummy. I mean, I don't know. If she's like a I don't know.
And see, I was speaking to her before the match, and I was like, hey, I'd like to do head scissors. Can you take a head scissors? And she was like, yeah. And so literally we get out there, and this is before I knew about spacing and all the psychology and all that stuff. I was just out there honestly just doing moves.
Okay. As are most.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not out of. It's not like your books where it's it's which we will get into in a second. But yeah, on the indies it's more like no one teaches psychology. It's just you kind of learn it, or you may have a vet who's like, why did you do that? And you just kind of I don't because it looked cool because I saw it on Raw or saw it on Ring of Honor and I thought it'd be something or. I don't know why I kick him in the face. I just like to kick him in the face. What do you mean? What do you mean? Well, why'd you have to give him 4 finishes? Because he let me give him 4. I don't know. What do you want? So you told her, hey, head scissors, this, that, and the other, and so...
Literally, she was standing somewhat close by the ropes, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's enough space. So I'm running at her, do the head scissors. I go flying into the ropes, and literally she's on the ground. I could hear her. She was like, oh, shit. She was like, I forgot what's next. After that mishap, so I was like, take me to the corner. For some reason, I guess instinct just kicked in before I knew really how like people communicated and things like that. Instinct just kicked in. I was like, take me to the turnbuckle, give me some shots, whip me off, clothesline me, boom. So it's different.
Okay.
So especially if that's stuff that you want to do.
Okay.
Like if you want to be a high flyer and you're kind of a big girl, you can do that with guys. Girls, not so much.
Yeah, because like even Lita, I mean, at that point, the intergender stuff was more because of her character. She was part of Team Extreme, all that. I was a big fan of the Hardys and Lita.
Yeah.
I think she, aside from being hot, the shoulder, the monster like demon shoulder tattoo. I was always like, man, you're my kind of gal. And then she would do the moonsault. Like I loved her when she was like Miss Congeniality, and then. When she debuted with Ese Rios, like I was like, oh my god, like just the idea of being that athletic and kind of fearless and really kind of breaking the mold. And
that's what caught my attention about her. I'm like, she's hanging with the dude. She is balls to the walls. Let's go. I'm game for it. Even still, I cringe when I watch the Steve Austin chair shot.
Yeah,
I was like, that is so uncomfortable to me.
It's supposed to be uncomfortable. I mean, he gotta protect the business. So, when did you decide that Booker's was something that you wanted to come to? I mean, I always ask everyone, like, why Booker? I mean, I know why for me, and really it boiled down to when I first was going to break in, Shawn Michaels had TWA. And I wanted to go to there because Shawn was the guy he was the guy for me. Yeah. And I thought, if I'm going to learn from anyone, that's going to be the guy. And I had heard people had gotten signed and that, but then I heard how much it was going to cost, and it was like $3,900 before you step foot in the ring, before you step foot, and I didn't have that, and I knew that if I had to hold off 6 months or to wait to save, it probably would have, I guess it came and gone. I didn't want to be that guy. Yeah. So Books, in part, was here's another like. Guy doing incredible work. He's King Booker at that point. I'd been on television for a number of years, but it was really like, okay, I've really achieved everything I can where I'm at. But no, everyone's glad handing me when I go to the back, so I don't know if I'm as good as advertised. Like I don't know. So, and I came to a tryout, and really it kind of opened my eyes, gave me the invite. That's all I really needed. Yeah. And I've, that, so to speak. So, but for you, like what was it for you that made you want to come to books?
I decided to come to books like after the promotion that I was working for, Wichita Falls PACW. They were, I guess, closing its doors.
Okay.
Because the owner is in the military.
Okay.
So he got transferred to Vegas for 6 years, he and his whole family. And so I'm just like, I really want to continue this. You know what I mean? And so I started looking up schools. The 3 schools I came across that stuck out to me because I knew I wanted to stay in the South was, excuse me, I don't spit. OVW.
Okay.
3D Academy. And Reality of Wrestling.
Okay.
And so I narrowed it down even more, and I was like, well, I kind of want to stay in Texas. I don't want to live in Dallas because I already kind of lived in Dallas when I was going to University of North Texas.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well, went to Twitter, was just typing in Reality of Wrestling, seeing what all I could find. Went to the website, got info. I think I went to the Facebook page if they had one at that time.
Probably.
In 2014.
Yeah.
And I came across like a couple of like the people, and I was just like, Eric being like the main one, I was communicating with Eric Lockhart, and I was like, hey, how is it at Booker T's Reality of Wrestling? And he was praising it. He was like, why are you thinking about coming here? And I was like, yeah. And I was looking at all these other schools. He was like, no, you don't want to go to these schools, blah blah blah. You want to come here. He was like, we treat everybody like family. He was like, the guys will take care of you. So I was like, all right, so I'm gonna go to books. And I told my parents, and they were like, they were already leery because when I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, it was just not the best situation. I was couch hopping like every 2 weeks trying to crash and make my dreams come true. At that point, I wanted to be a sports reporter.
Okay.
So I was trying to make that happen. Cause
another job where you have to pay a bunch of dues.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's always like, it's very much like
wrestling. Yeah. It's almost like who you know. So it's like, I was like, yeah, sports reporting is probably not for me because this is too much of a headache. And I came, so they were just like, we don't know about this, but all right. I'm like, go ahead and try it. At least you're in Texas this time. Like, if something goes wrong, you can always either come home or you can, we're here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I ended up coming here.
What was for everyone? It's a culture shock. The training aspect. I'm not just the moving. How different was it, the training aspect, as far as from, the training that you had gotten up until that point, the matches that you had, to working under book? How was it for you?
It was my first time really working around, like training around girls. The other girl that I worked at PACW, she wasn't based there. She was based out of Dallas, I believe, that area. Okay. So even still in training, it was just straight guys. When I came here, psychology was like a big thing. Yeah. It's like you have to have psychology. Like they were beating it in your head. Like as soon as I got here, they were like, "No, don't do this," or "Why do you think you? No, don't do it like that." And so I went from just being like, I'm doing all these spots and not having to worry about things, to coming here kind of with that same mindset, and people were like, no, who do you think you are? Coming here doing wanting to do all these spots, you know what I mean? And so it was very like, oh, okay, well, let me go into my shell and like, all right, I'm just like, whatever. So it was definitely different. The stuff that I learned up there, I'm appreciative that he got me to do things that I was scared to do, like flip bumps. It took me forever to do a flip bump just because I was scared I was going to land on my neck. I mean,
you are coming from, I don't even want to be off my feet, to okay, well now let's get you to fully rotate and don't break anything. Your heels, don't break your tailbone. Oh, you got to do, it's all this stuff all at once. Yeah. So.
Exactly. So I went from that, just knowing spots, not so much psychology, to here psychology is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the moves, like Booker always says. It's what you do in between.
Yeah.
So.
So how long had you been there? Because you really didn't make your like in-ring debut till like Summer of Champions 1, or had you wrestled before that?
Here at Reality Wrestling.
Yeah.
Let me see. I did the first Battle Royal at Summer of Champions, the first one.
So that was in essence your debut with the company, right?
Yeah.
And I would say this, like, I told people, like, that match stood out to me because it was so well done. Like, everybody, there was something about it. Like, everybody was...
It didn't look like a cluster.
No, yeah, because I remember Book was, he kind of mapped it out. Like,
yeah.
You had no room to fail. He was like, and you do this at this point. And while y'all are doing that, you guys do this.
Yeah.
I would hear that story, and it was the same way when I would do battle royals, because notoriously everyone says, "Oh, battle royals are a cluster." I'm like, no, there's a true like art to it if you do it right. Like if you can get every character over in the process, and like one of the ones that I booked that still people give me, because I did kind of a Royal Rumble style, not like y'all's that started kind of jailbreak style where everybody's like in the ring at once. But I remember having conversations with like Gustavo after that and a few others, like, man, that was one of the best matches of the night. Awesome. And at that point, that was kind of like a really good place for the Diamonds. And then we have what we have, and then it ended. Like, I mean, I've had conversations about it. I've brought it up. Like, the division at some point Book just had enough.
Yeah.
So, what were you thinking when that came about? Like, because I mean, for guys, if a cruiserweight division goes away, well, everyone moves up to the next whatever the next belt is. Oh, it's just, or we'll just give you a tag, or if there's one belt, then you all fight for it, and we diminish the roster. There's always going to be something to fight for.
Yeah.
How bad did it get for you before Book actually just was like, we just got to put it into it? Like, what was it like for you morale-wise? Because, again,
after it ended?
Well, like, right before, because there was obviously a point where Book's just like, I've had enough of it. Mm-hmm. So, but you're one of the talent, and not that you're doing anything wrong, but obviously getting an earful from Book, even if you have nothing, you know full well. Like, I know when there's the talks that we're going to have, I go, Charmel, is this affecting you? No. Are you sure? You have nothing to do with this. Okay. Kevin, do I have anything to worry about? No, you're not the guy. Okay. Brian, do I have, I don't want to walk into something, because I understand unspoken stuff.
Yeah.
If I need to be prepared, because I know even after all that, even in the midst of I'm like, did I do shit?
Yeah.
You have to kind of soul search.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing anything wrong, but that division is, it's like going away. Like how, for you, because you've remained through all of it. I mean, that thing ended and you were like, nah, this is where I'm at, it's my home, so on and so forth, which I want to get into, but how bad had it gotten right around the time that Book just put it in? Because there was beef left and right with people, and like the champion, which because I wasn't privy to it, and I've always been like, don't bring me your drama, I don't care. Like, as long as y'all perform, I don't care. Y'all can date the same dude, I don't care. Y'all can be dating each other, I don't care. Just as long as it doesn't affect the show. If it affects the show, I'll go to Book and be like, cut them all loose. We don't need, no drama. But so I kind of heard, and then she was champ one day, and then she's part of another company, and I'm like, we've ran into that recently with some talent where Book kind of goes, look, if you're gonna work elsewhere, I just want it to be good shit. If it's not good shit, then why work there? Yeah. Well, why not tell me you're gonna go work there? Yeah. I mean, if you're so fucking proud of it, like when he says stuff, I go, I'm the same way. Like, I don't care where you work, but I don't want people Googling you. He's part of Book, so let me go here. And then, that was crap. Oh, you're working for that? Oh, that's bad quality. And it's like,
Gotcha.
you're still the, yeah. So I get what it, but okay, so, but back to what was it like for you?
It was, I'm gonna say, after that, after Summer of Champions, I know the division was focused on like 2 or 3 girls.
Yeah.
Boom. That's when girls started kind of falling off.
Because they're not in the, and I get it.
They're not part of it, so it's just like, well, if I'm not part of it now, like at this moment, then I don't want to be here. That was never my mentality.
Yeah.
And so.
Which is great.
You have to have that mentality. Everybody will get their turn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's something that people have to understand getting into this business, because there's a lot of people there's a handful of people that are wanting to do this, but to me, it all depends on your mindset. Like, are you patient enough to wait? So, after the book had a 5-carat match at Final Heat, which is supposed to be the big, heat.
That was I remember for me, having been part of like Christmas Chaos 1 in that building, that his first show, and then I remember seeing right before the book goes out, I'm like, oh my God, Harlem Heat!
Yeah.
And he's like, get the fuck out of my face. I'm like, I can't believe it! You and Stevie! I thought, I always gotta make him laugh, because I'm like, man, wow, I can't believe it. Yeah, but as you mentioned, I think of Summer Champions 1, and I go, wow, that was an amazing, I think it was 6 women in that?
No, it was 10.
10. See, 10.
So it was perfectly, like, everybody's going to have one person, you stick to that person until Cinema tosses you out, and then that'd be that.
Whereas less women in this Final Heat match, which...
5.
5. So half, so more time for everyone, so to speak. But it went off the rails, and I remember, considering for us the importance of the show and book, on top of running it, having to perform, and I'm sure, having been there, I know it's tough, like, oh, okay, now I gotta get in wrestler mode, and still, and like y'all's wasn't the only match, it was like other matches, I think everyone put so much pressure, and there was no one to go, I would try with like Kevin and with Justin, like, guys, can you believe we're back at this month? Can you believe oh my God, think of like all the good, because it's going to suck. We were already in the midst of like hour almost 7 at that, we've been there like since 8 a.m. So it was like, it can't suck, guys. We just gotta love it. And then you would see like talent just kind of so much pressure that it just affected the work, and then y'all's match. So okay, after the 5-carat,
I just thought about this. What could have possibly, I don't care.
Yeah.
There was an incident between. I'm totally not gonna say their names. There was an incident between 2 girls, like in the bathroom, like prior to.
Okay.
And
the night of the match, like okay.
The night of the match, people were getting ready. And I was standing in there. One girl was talking to me about another girl. And so I'm looking at the girl that she's talking to. I'm looking at her, and then the other girl's like, what is she saying about me? And I'm like, hey, such and such is in the bathroom right here. She's like, yeah, I know. She comes out of the stall. They just, and I'm just like, so... how about this weather? You know what I mean? Because literally, and I'm just like, this is awkward. So, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I don't know. There's it's a funny story to tell. But the people were doing like interviews. I'm not gonna say names, trying to fault the 2 new girls, me and another girl, and me and Hyun. And that was completely false. We did what we were supposed to do. Pretty much most of the match, we got tossed on the outside and we were hanging out.
Yeah, I like, yeah, so the only thing I would say to that is if you can never blame, if you're the veteran of it, the more experienced you are, the more it's on you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about
Yeah.
anything else. Like if I have a bad match with a rookie, it is my bad.
Yep.
Because I should be able to put a Band-Aid on it, or go, okay, we're just gonna flip the script, or let's take that page out, oh, we're cutting that paragraph. No, you know what, we're just gonna pose, because you can't do anything else. You know, like, there's always a way to fix it.
Yeah.
I don't ever think there's, and maybe that's because I've worked with talent that seemingly had a time machine where they could pause time in the midst of it going to crap, and then next thing you know, just like, oh my God, you turned it into something beautiful.
Yep.
So I know there was a lot of like back and forth, which is horrible, especially if it just gets out. It's one thing if it's in the locker room, because it happens. I get it. You know, we're all around each other enough. That's why I'm not around very much, because I understand, like.
And I took your advice at least one day a week. I'm just.
You gotta go. You gotta. I'm like, guys, we run once a month. Enjoy. We ran weekly or like twice a week, and it's like you never have the day, and you make promises to yourself, like, okay, today I'm gonna, and then a phone call comes up. Oh, now I gotta do that.
Yeah.
And you never take the time, and then you realize, maybe even after a year of that, hell, even after 6 months of that, nonstop. You come to the realization of, it's just not fun, or it's a drag, or I'm just tired of being this person. I need to turn it up. So I always try to tell talent, like, man, I know y'all want to work more, but enjoy the fact that we get it done, and then you've got the rest of the month to kind of fine tune your stuff, and more importantly, you have days to go away.
But here's the thing with that, though. It's like the girls, like a good chunk of them, if not most of them or whatever, they weren't there a lot.
Okay.
It was just, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it, for some, may have been a little bit of an ego thing.
Okay.
To where they didn't feel like they needed to be there all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you've only been working for a couple years.
Yeah, if you're fresh, like there's
I feel like you should be there as much as possible without, like you say, without overdoing it and getting tired of it. At least showing up 2-3 days a week.
I know when I was going, it was like probably for like the first 7 years, probably until when I left PWA, I was there at least 3 to 4 days a week, and then early in my career, I was there as much as humanly possible, because it was just, I always wanted to get better. Like I always felt like if I'm missing, someone else is getting better. And then once I'd win belts, it became the total like, well, no, I have to be the example. Like there's no room, because I demand, if I'm going to be here, I demand all of you to do the same. And then I have no like room for excuses. Now, my life now and being a producer, it's more like, well, all you young guys who've been, you know, if you have done it less than 10 years and you are in relatively good shape and we're not killing you all the time, because the training's changed to be, you know, I mean, it's hard, but it's like being in a car wreck. So I get it, but at the same time, and it would upset me too, because I would see like some of them that were in high positions that weren't there all the time, and then the performances would suffer, and their excuse was, well, I'm not working all the time or whatever have you. And I'm like, I don't care. Like you represent the company, like, and you can always get better, and you're not that great. Like you know, it takes it doesn't take a long time if you have a natural instinct. That's one thing, but then you got to work to get. I'm still learning stuff, in even doing what I do. Yeah. So I have never understood, like, especially if you're in the thick of it, like, why take a break? Like,
and that's something that Jake Roberts told me too. Whenever he was at the arena for his showing of his movie. Yeah. We were standing outside talking, and he was like, in this business, he said, you're always learning. He said the day you stop learning is the day that you need to get out of this business. Yeah. And so I'm just like, wow. You know, I'm just, I was fascinated by it. I mean, it's the truth though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're always learning something new. Like wrestling is ever like, I feel like it's ever changing.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they go through all these different eras because they got different things going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like Madonna. It's like she always reinvents herself.
Yeah.
Like every couple of years or something. So.
So it gets totally bad. Book basically. I mean.
Yeah,
not a very big shock to the one. I mean, I'd have conversations with Kevin. I knew like it was kind of even a situation where they could have ended it sooner, and Kevin or Book would be like, all right, let's give them a little more. Let's just give them another chance because God, to kill a division like I don't want to do that, you know.
Yeah.
Like, could we do something like
didn't
there's
it
some
happen
good
prior? Because I feel like Kevin or someone told me that. Like,
yeah, it was. There were countless times specifically because the ones that were getting all the shine weren't there a lot, and it became this thing of it's one thing for them, it's another thing for the entire locker room. Where the entire there are people going, man, I can't even get on the damn show. And I'm here every day, you know, and then those people get discouraged, and then it just takes one really bad apple. And then if they're airing their grievances online or something like, you know, like if it just becomes a thing of like, I don't want a disgruntled employee. You just don't want to be here, then don't be here. Like or if you think you're better, then go and prove you're better, and you'll find that. As much of a pressure cooker as it is to be under Book's, you know, tutelage, at the same time, it is one of those things where, man, he fixes your problems. Like, your bad habits, he goes, break them. Think psychology. Think character. Don't think moves. And then I hear from like Sean Studd or like even Brennan, who went to that WWE trial and was like, I was so ahead of so many other guys because I just thought he's like, the moves so don't even matter. And he goes, so cool. Yeah, so you're in the midst of this, you don't leave, you stick around. You just, was it just like, stick around and prove to Book, hey, I will be here, and whatever capacity you need. And you weren't, the one thing that really gained my respect, I had already had a lot of respect for you because you were always there, and like I said, that I had a great first impression because the Summer of Champions won. I was like, wow, this could be something. You know, I had ideas like of where that division could go. Yeah. But you were there even right after that announcement's made, like the next show, you're there, like set up to tear down. You don't leave. You're not one of those that I will say it sucks at those points where it's just get there at 11, take down this, you know, take down the ring from the truck. Let's put it up. Let's put up the stage. Let's sweep. Let's do, you know. And then by the time showtime, you're like, man, I put in almost 12 hours. You know, you feel like you put in a full day. Oh, now we got to perform. Oh, by the way, now we got to tear down after the show. Yeah. And you were always there, and you were never one of those that. Much like Brian, Javier, like you just, and the Lockhart guys that just had this real positive, like, you know, we know it sucks, but we're not going to be the people that show it sucks. And then I'd be like, well.
You can see my sleepiness kicking in. I'm not going to lie, though. Like, towards the end, like, after the show is done. Yeah. Because I'm not a late night person at all. So I was just like, all right,
But still, it wasn't like you were going, you were, you know, like, under your breath or anything. Like, nothing that you could tell, you know. You were a total team player. So let's fast forward to the dark time. That dark period of, like, now the division's going to come back. When you heard that, how did it make you feel, knowing that you had gone through? I mean, it's one thing, like some of the ones that did come back when the division was you know, like, oh, we're gonna bring it back. You were the one that was constant through. Like others would come and go, come and go, come and go. Those people would annoy me. I don't care who they are; they annoy me. Like. It just annoys me that, oh, well, I'll just come to kind of show my face and then I'll leave. And it's like, I see right through it. You're not training, you're not going full speed, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Like if I'm there, the one time I'm there and you're not doing stuff, I go, so this is how it is all the time, right? Okay. But we get through that and Book goes, bringing the division back? Like, when did you hear about it, and what were your thoughts?
Is it cool if I go talk just a little bit about
Yeah,
it?
no, I remember, I didn't want to be your Oprah or your Barbara Walters. I didn't want to be like, and tell me when it was darkest for you. And, you know, I can do that if you want me to.
No, please don't. Because you already get me during, like, promo nights, and I'm like, I hate you.
And I'm all like, why wrestling? And you're like, because.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I just asked you why.
I was like, it was the hormones that, like, I don't know what's going on.
All good. It was beautiful. But okay, so go back. Okay, in the midst of
those 5 months,
yes,
where there was
5 months of like what?
Book was so pissed
Yes.
at that final heat match. I don't even think he said anything to us afterwards. We walked to the back. We knew. Well, I was on the ground, so I knew something was wrong or whatever. But like, I don't know, because the girls came to the back and they were like, "Oh my God, what happened?" Like, one of the girls went in when she wasn't supposed to, and it
was totally off. Like I kind of, especially in those matches, everyone has to go. Okay, what's the story? Mm-hmm. Okay, what's my part in it? Okay, what's the conclusion, and what are we trying to get out of it? Okay, and I, much to like Book's mentality,
the whole thing, it was just off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. Like, originally it was supposed to be 6. One of the girls got hurt. I don't know if that kind of threw stuff off, because we had to put it together literally within 2 to 3 days, versus the first Summer of Champions Battle Royal. We had put that together like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think so. After that happened,
had dress rehearsal and Booker dress rehearsal. It's like it's more intimidating than the actual. You get into the match, you're like, man, this is nothing. This crowd, they're cheering. Awesome. I'm not here and freeze it.
Yeah. But we get to the back and nobody really says anything to us. But Mark Henry, he started talking because I didn't know what happened.
Okay.
And then he said what was going on, and me and Kion were like, well, we were tossed on the outside again. We didn't know what happened. And he was like, why didn't one of y'all grab such and such? And we were like, because we didn't know. Still relatively new to the business.
No one had told y'all.
You know.
Plus, what if you had done that and looks like.
Yeah, exactly. I would rather do what he says and.
Yeah. No. You always do right. Like if you do at least to the letter.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I told them. I didn't tell you. I told them. Yeah. It's always just follow protocol. We always it's a big thing. But okay, so Mark
after
Henry,
that happened, well, within that week or a couple weeks or so, the next show came up, and I was like, "Look, there's gonna be a girls' match." You know, I was still going to training every day, because I'm just like, okay, if he's pissed now, maybe he just won't have a girls' match this show.
Yeah.
Literally every show after that happened, I was like, "Look, there a girls' match? No? Okay, well, you know." And so while that was going on, I was still going to all the shows, tearing down, setting up, doing all that stuff. I've done everything. I've worked concessions, I've worked security, backstage reporter, announcer, like I've done everything. And so there were times where I was like, okay, like I did think to myself, why am I doing this? You know, girls aren't getting matches anymore. None of the other girls really showed up anymore.
And you're probably not even getting an explanation. Like he's probably just
he was
probably
just like,
no girls match, and he's just like,
and it was just that.
Woo! And what a way to end it. I rarely do outros, but if you want to know how the story continues, what happens next, be sure to check out part 2. It is quite the listen. Little bit of spoiler. The Diamonds division does come back. It comes back in a big way, and Ivory is front and center for all of it. So, you know, as I always like to say, well, before that, I want to thank everyone who took the time to listen to this. Give me your feedback. Let me know. You know, when the videos are a little bit longer, is it good to break them up? You know, what's a good way to break them up? Before I end this, also July 16th, Reality of Wrestling comes back to you with one of their television tapings, and be on the lookout. I mean, if you go to realitywrestling.com, you'll see details of Reality Wrestling and House of Hardcore working together potentially, or feuding. I don't know. You'll have to go to realitywrestling.com for further details. Again, I appreciate everyone who listened to part 1 be on the lookout for part 2 next weekend. Until the next time, as I always like to say, stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy. Come on back! If you do, if you enjoy this, enjoy the journey, sit back and relax, then you already are that. Until the next time, later!